Education is a major concern not only in Mississippi but across the country. We're going to start with the K-12 system here. Do you think we are on the right track in Mississippi? And if not, what do you think needs to be done to change our direction, starting with Dave Dennis?
Absolutely, we're not on the right track. Proof's in the pudding when you look out. ACT scores are still in the up 18 point, not quite at 19. They've been on a virtual flat line, up and down a tiny bit over the course of the last 20 years. Teacher salaries have increased. Money going in has increased. Results have not increased. When you look at schools, when you look at competition, our business is competitive. If you're competitive, you have to sharpen your axe. You have to be willing to be competitive. When you look in certain arenas, if you want to go to a two-year institution in this state, there are 15 public choices plus many private choices. If you want to go to a four-year institution, there are plenty of IHL choices plus private choices. If you want to go K-12, by and large, you're geographically locked in to where you live. There are a few exceptions to that, but by and large, you're locked in. Competition matters. Competition makes a difference. Charter schools make a difference. The ability to be competitive and have someone say, well, you know, gosh, if these people are going to take their kids and move them somewhere else and move with their wallet and their tax money and their voucher, if that indeed is what you go to, you got to be sharp. You got to be customer driven, and that indeed is what schools have to do. So at this point, no, they are not satisfactory, and anybody that thinks they are does not belong in any arena.
Bill Bryant.
We have some that are. I'm proud of the Rankin County schools. They're doing a very good job. And again, let's go back to what we've been able to do with a conservative agenda. We passed charter school bills in the Senate that would be the envy of the nation, and they both died in the House of Representatives. We've been able to say this year we passed a bill that said, you know, you can go to school part of the time and then go to a community college. You can get your Carnegie units, and then you can go over and learn a skill. Ladies and gentlemen, if I can teach a young man to weld, he'll have a job the rest of his life. So he won't have to be one of those 30% dropping out. We passed that bill. The governor signed it this year. And then the Children's First Act. 2 years ago, in July, we passed a bill that said if you're a superintendent or board member and you have a failing school district for 2 years, we're going to fire you. We're going to take you out of there and put somebody in there that knows what they're doing. That's the most dramatic, hard-hitting bill for education reform, conservative education reform in the country. This July, the clock runs out. We're going to go out there and find some of these folks that don't have a leadership, that can't run these schools, get rid of them, and get somebody that can. That's what you do as a leader. You don't just talk about problems, you do something about them.
Hudson Holiday.
Well, first of all, we got to remember that the objective of having school is to educate our children. More money is not the answer, and it has not produced results, just like David said. Ultimately, it's your parents' responsibility. You've got three choices today. You can private school, homeschool, or you can go to public school in your district. They did a fourth choice, but I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a different road here. Charter schools and vouchers seems like the real fix. You know, as me as an individual, I'm responsible for educating my child. But as governor of this state, you're responsible to educate every child. There's a lot of kids out here that can't go to charter schools. There are a lot of kids out here that are not going to be able to get a voucher. They don't have the money to haul over here and go over there. It's a great concept, but if you really think of the nuts and bolts about how that would work, the more government we have in schools seems like the less results we have. We've got to concentrate on pre-K education. Children have to be taught to read. We're graduating high school seniors that can't read today. A lot of problems with it. We've got to work on it. It's too much to tell you right here in a 30-second or 1 minute sound problem. It's broke. It's got to be fixed. It's still broken. It's going to stay broken until you have some real leadership to fix it.
I can have 30 seconds. I just say, I'm not responsible for educating your child or anyone's child. You are. Now, I'm responsible for making sure we've got good schools, safe environments for them to go to, and we're going to do that. But that's why we need competition, because if it's not safe and secure and they're not getting a good education, you ought to be able to take them somewhere that will deliver that. That's why I've been to Helena, West Helena, Arkansas. That's why I've been to New Orleans to see charter schools. Just go watch, just a stone's throw away. We put this out. Forrest and his group put that out. A stone's throw away. It's on their website, and you can see what charter schools can do.
I'd like 1/32, please.
Okay.
The point I keep wanting to make here, it's like going down the river in a boat with the anchor dragging. As long as we leave 30 or 40% of the people behind, ladies and gentlemen, we never going to get off the bottom. It's fine to have a charter school here and one over there. It's fine to let the rich folks do it, but what about all the poor folks? I'm telling you, it's time for us to move all of us forward, not just some of us, and we're never going to move off the bottom until we give everybody access to good quality public education. Thank you.
Comment. The reality of education is ultimately you either educate kids or run the risk of incarcerating them. That's point blank what is out and what is at risk. You educate them or run the risk of incarcerating. I chaired Leadership Mississippi 4 different times. Our project every year was building blocks, early childhood development. It is done properly and it is done in an environment of learning rather than sitting around eating cookies and drinking Kool-Aid. It is useful. It's very useful and it's helpful. Those things have to be done.